Hello everybody, how we doing today? I see Full Doddles here, Corvette Jim Piper, Chuck, WKR Piper, and the comments fade away. There we go. 8 Ida, Eric Frick, good to see you guys. Let me know if the audio is coming through, folks. Corvette Jim's in his daytime jammies. Aren't we all, Jim? Aren't we all? Armchair Piper, thank you, Full Doddle. Thanks, Couch, appreciate the sound check. Frank Danone, there's Bona Piper, good to see you, Christian. Boy, it seems like we were just doing this a few hours ago. John Moore, that's definitely too much information. Everett Young, good to see you, buddy. Smoking Dead, Monty 53 Piper, Matt the Piper, Todd A, Briar Fiend, George 416 Piper. Hey, great to see you. And Peter the Smooth Piper's here. Captain Bailey's Adventure, Fireman Piper, Fragrant Offering Piper. Hello to all of you guys. It's great to see you. Glad you could make it. Big Dave, Robert Dawson. George Tiedemann, how you doing, George? Always good to see you. You know, the reason I read these names out, folks, is that if you don't recognize them, click on them, go see their channel. Subscribe to them. If they don't have videos, subscribe anyway. Maybe you'll encourage them. Full Smoking Bar, how you doing, Nick? Al Molitor from Boston, good to see you, Al. Philadelphia Piper's here. Week was fine, George. Week was fine. Hope yours was good too. Portsmouth Piper, good to see you, Portsmouth. George 416 Piper, am I pronouncing that right? Is it George? Jeff the Chef, good to see you, buddy. Boris the Piper, Dunhill Durborough and a Diplomat Cobb, sounds good. You should be WKR Piper. I think as long as you came back in. Gotcha, George. Just wanted to check it wasn't one of these J sounding like Y things. Newton Piper. Hello, good to see you. I'm not surprised by that Full Smoking Bar. He's been telling me he's had a bit of a Best Brown #2 fixation lately. Buckeye Piper, good to see you. Hey Dita, that sounds like a great time watching Father of the Flame with a bunch of guys online. There you go, Briar Fiend. Instagram's a fine additional platform. Oh, thank you, Al. That's really kind of you. Really, George, I'm sorry to hear that. George is saying that he still can't get notifications for the channel. And I just saw Everett smoking some Haunted Bookshop. So I got to ask Everett if he's tried the mixture yet, and he'll know what I mean. George, and anyone else that's having notification issues, go check out briarreport.org. They now have a calendar that's on the front page, and I talked about this in a video a while back. It's a really neat feature that you can see whatever, you can click on the day and you can see all the stuff that's happening that day, you know, live streams, planned shows, whatever. But you can also click on them and get a notification. So you'll get an email notification And it's an experimental feature, so it might break, but the more people that try it out, the sooner they'll be able to fix it. So go check that out. It's a good alternative to what YouTube has been letting us down on with the notifications. Chuck, I still have not found my flint, and I looked for it quite a bit today. I mentioned last night, guys, that I bought one of these like 10 packs of 8-pack flints. So I've got 80 flints sitting in this house somewhere, and I can't find any of them. The good thing is, if you lose something, look for it, because you'll find other stuff that you didn't know you lost. And that's been quite an experience. And the frustrating part of it is, I remember putting it away thinking, I'll put it here. This way I'll know where to find it. And I have no idea where I put it. Oh, full dawdle, that's a pun. That's not good. I love puns, but they get such a bad rep. Yeah, Bona Piper, I think I will. I've got one of those little, individual drawer things for like sorting screws and stuff. I'm going to probably put a flint label on one of them. Oh, Pipe Magic, you're making me feel better with that one. Lose the drink you just made. Thank you, Traveler Mike. We all appreciate that. Yeah, Nick, I not only checked all 14 junk drawers, I found a 15th junk drawer that I didn't know I had. So anyway, folks, we had a real good time last night with Ben the Artful Codger. I hope you had a chance to tune in for that. And today we're doing this because it's a once a month giveaway thing that I like to do. Hey, Eric, Blue Collar Pipe Smoker, how you doing, buddy? Glad you enjoyed the show last night. And B. Annison. Oh. Finding keys in a melted snow puddle. Well, that must feel good to find them after all that time. Before I get too far gone here, I've got my Hercules, and this is what I have in it. This is the new Cornell & Diehl small batch, the Carolina Red Flake with the 18-year-old Perique, I believe it is. It's with Perique. I think it's the 18-year-old. I can never find what I'm looking for on these things. It's an interesting blend. And the giveaway today is going to include a tin of this. So some lucky attendee will be getting some of that. I like it. I like the Carolina Red in general, and it's a nice blend. The Perique is very smooth. It's got a lot of Perique in it. You can detect it, but it's not harsh. So if you're someone that doesn't like Perique, this might be a vapor that you would actually enjoy. Is it still a vapor if it's Carolina Red? But it is, the Carolina has not really come to fruition yet. So I think, and I see Eric Frick just posting that it is going to be really good in like 4 or 5 years, 5 or 6 years maybe. So I bought 4 tins of this. I'm smoking one, I'm giving one away, and the other 2 are going into the cellar for at least 5 years. I think it will really be fantastic. As is true with many of Cornell & Diehl blends, it's just a little young. It just hasn't had time to mature, and that Virginia is going to definitely age well. So one of the problems with doing these live streams like this, I'm looking at a tablet right now, and I know you guys, if you're looking at a computer, you can probably see the chat on the side. I only get the chat when somebody puts a new message in, and then it fades away. So sometimes I'm just left here with a blank screen hoping that people are still watching. So let me tell you a bit about the what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. And I think I started to mention this I like to do these monthly giveaways really as a way to thank all of my subscribers. I don't like it's not that I don't like them. I just personally don't like to do the video giveaway type things with the video responses, because that's only for people that make videos. And I've done them in the past for anybody that comments, but it's a random drawing. I just think this is fun. It lets us all get together, have some fun on a Saturday afternoon, and gives me a chance to thank you guys. So the prize today is, as I already mentioned, a tin of the Carolina Red Flake with Perique, and this Savinelli Series III KS 122, I think. It is a bent pot. Very, very nice shape. I really like this shape, especially for burleys, but it smokes everything well. It is a 9mm filter. You see it's got one of the Savinelli balsa filters in there. I would be happy to make, and it will only take me like 15 minutes to do it, to make a Delrin adapter for this if the winner prefers a non-filtered pipe. But if you like 9mm, this is a great pipe. This, as I mentioned in an earlier video, I did buy this from the Pipe Nook. I just bought it. I did not get any discount or ask for a discount, and I just wanted to be able to support him a bit, and to remind you guys all to go and check out Eddie's site, thepipenook.com. He's just got a batch of these Series 3 Savinellis in. They're fantastic values, and I think he's even running a bit of a sale on them right now. I haven't confirmed that, but I was told that some of the prices are lower than usual. So go check out thepipenook.com if you don't win this one. If you do win this one, check it out anyway. Then you can have 2 pipes. So let's see. Yeah, with the adapters, the Savinelli smoke just fine with it. They smoke the same as an unfiltered pipe, I find. Who was that? Eric. Eric, you don't. I actually have one 9mm Savinelli that I smoke without an adapter and no filter, and it smokes fine. It just technically should smoke better with the adapter, but you can adjust to pretty much anything. Oh, he does have a sale going on, Monty. So yeah, definitely go check that out. And again, Eddie's not sponsoring this in any way. I'm just the satisfied customer that's trying to pass along the information. So those are the 2 prizes, and what we're going to do, we'll wait. Let's see, we're about 13 minutes in now, which I don't have a clock here. Probably about half past the hour, we'll go ahead and have the contest. And what we're going to do is what we've been doing the past couple of months. I'll ask a trivia question. If you follow me on Instagram, I gave a hint earlier about the question, but that's not entirely fair, so I'll give you all the hint. The hint was the question has something to do with pipes. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of guys saying that you can smoke filtered pipes without the filters and without an adapter, and you definitely can. Was somebody asking if I would put a finish on the Savinelli? If the winner would like that, I'd be happy to do it. There are folks that believe that the unfinished pipes smoke cooler. I'm not in that category. I think that it doesn't make a difference, but who knows? Mr. Bragg, I got a mic. Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with the Savinelli unfinished over a long period of time, but I have a couple of what Peterson used to call Irish seconds, which were their second line of pipes. And those were unfinished. So you'd buy them and they'd look just like this Savinelli Series III does. And those are, boy, those are getting on 30 years old now. And they are just gorgeous pipes. And they've got this deep, reddish brown color to them that just evolves over time as the wood oxidizes. And I really love those pipes. I wouldn't do anything to add stain or anything to them. And I do occasionally polish them, put a little bit of carnauba on them. Oh, how would you finish a pipe like that? Probably just, I mean, it's pretty well sanded. You might want to sand it a little bit more. Put on any stain that you might want, and then buff it and buff carnauba wax onto it. Beyond that, it's a bit more detailed than I want to get into right now, but it can be done. If you have a buffer set up, then you'd have no issues with it. One thing I'm noticing about this Carolina Red Flake with Perique is that it does seem to smoke fast. Surprises me because it is a flake. Where did I put it's a typical Cornell deal broken flake. But the way I pack this is just to kind of smash it down and shove it in the pipe. That usually smokes pretty slowly, but I'm getting through this pretty quickly. So you guys all hanging in there through the times of social isolation. I went grocery shopping this morning, and it was a fine experience. The store I went to was very well maintained and wasn't at all crazy or anything. I went to the post office. That was a little bit odd because they've got these plexiglass shields up now. And, I got home from it and I felt like I had been on a business trip or something, even though I was only gone for a couple hours. Fragrant, I'm sorry, I started to read that without my glasses and I shouldn't have done it. He's asking if a drill press would be okay to buff and wax pipes. I'm sure you could do it, and I'm sure there are guys that do it. The nice thing about a drill press, at least most of them, is that they are going to be variable speed, which you definitely want for a buffing setup. Whatever you do, if you're looking for something to buff, make sure you get variable speed, because you want to put, assuming you're using an 8-inch wheel, and the size of the wheel is important, but you want to be able to put the Triple E and the white diamond and the carnauba on at a relatively high speed of about 1,600 revolutions per minute. Buff with the Triple E and white diamond at that speed, but then when you apply the carnauba wax, you want to drop it down to about half of that. And that's really important. So a drill press would let you do that, but the problem with the drill press is that the arbors on those are designed to take force that's going up and down, not sideways. So you will wear out your drill press arbor pretty quickly if you apply sideways force to it a lot. And you're not applying a lot of force when you're buffing, so you might be able to get away with it. If it's the only thing I had, I would do it. I would try it, but I think there's better options certainly if you can get a variable speed grinder or buffer. And what I use is a wood lathe, which you can get an arbor for the wood lathe that holds 3 buffs for, I don't remember how much I paid for it. It was under $100. And you can pick up these small MIDI wood lathes on Craigslist usually for under $100. So, that's a pretty easy way to get a very versatile tool. And of course, you can use the wood lathe for turning wood as well. So. Camping trip sounds good, Monty. Yeah, so it was really funny how, I'll get to that in a second, Christian. It was funny how odd it felt going out and coming back home today. It had been so long. Just getting into my car, I noticed things that I had, moved around in the car last time I was in there that I had forgotten about. I have this little magnetic, I don't know what it was originally intended for, but it fits in the car vent and it's got a magnet on it. I seem to think it was for holding a cell phone, but it's very impractical for that. Anyway, I stuck it in the car vent and I put a check tool on it, and it works great, But I had done that like 2 days before this all started, and I got in the car this morning, and it's been about a week since I got in the car, and I was surprised to see it. It's just odd how time is just moving differently, and we're forgetting things that we normally wouldn't forget because we're just not experiencing the same things over and over. It was very quiet driving around. The store was very subdued, well stocked, which was good to see. A few things out, but by and large, it was well stocked. Yeah, just a kind of surreal experience. So Christian asked if there was any brand of lathe I recommended, and if you were looking to become a wood turner, there would be a very different answer. For light turning and buffing, I have a Grizzly tool. They get a bad name sometimes among woodworkers, but I actually got some pretty good luck with Grizzly. I own a Grizzly bandsaw, a drill press, the lathe, and a planer. No, not a planer. I'm sorry, a jointer. And they all have served me well for many years. So I like Grizzly. For buffing, if all you want is buffing, as long as it's variable speed, I mean, you could even look at something like a Harbor Freight or, whatever the discount tool thing might be in your neck of the woods. So you don't have to spend a lot if you're just looking to set it up as a buffer and maybe an occasional, turning a tamper or something like that. They would, Christian, but nobody ever rides in my car. Even my wife won't ride in my car. I tell everybody, like at work sometimes we'll be going somewhere, like going out to dinner, and somebody will say, "Can I catch a ride with you?" And I'll say, "Well, as long as you don't mind being covered in pipe and cigar ash and having fishing hooks stuck in your butt, you're welcome to come along." And they usually decide to get a ride with somebody else. Well, that's interesting, full smoking bar. I didn't think that you'd have enough torque on a box fan motor, but I suppose that's a possibility, and they would be variable. Well, Christian, you're welcome to ride along anytime. Hey, Alan, glad you made it. You're not that late. No, George, I'd be very bad as an Uber driver. It's really good to know, full smoking bar. The box fan motors can be used for buffers. Another thing I've seen people use, a bit harder to come by, is motors off of treadmills, which actually they're not that hard to come by because people are always throwing away treadmills. You just have, the problem with that is you have to take the panel because that's where the variable speed controller is. I do not know Kentucky Club that well, Todd, but if anyone else can recommend a replacement for Kentucky Club for Todd A, that would be great. Yeah, I'm pretty clever with getting the fish hook stuck in places. Yeah, you can use bench grinders, but variable speed is really good for buffing. It helps a lot. So if you got a variable speed bench grinder, you're good to go. Hey, Bama Guitar Dude, we're talking about buffing. Yeah, a lot of guys having trouble getting cars started because they've been sitting so long. Mark in Rhode Island, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, pipe magic. The only time I feel like I want to go fast is if I'm putting the carnauba wax on in particular. The Triple E and the White Diamond go on pretty easy, but the carnauba, the higher speed helps it a little bit. You distribute a little bit better on the buff. But then when I want to put it onto the pipe, I want a low speed. So, but you can get by with low speed, certainly. Trim your buffs. Okay. See, smoke pipe, what is that directed at, my friend? I mean, it is important to keep the buffs trimmed. Otherwise you get, well, you can actually put scratches in the pipe that are quite noticeable because the strings will pick up the buffing compound and sort of act as an abrasive. There you go, Cliff. I think we're all, in a sense, slow speed kind of guys, though. Oh, Hardcracker, that's the best reason I can think of to have a convertible. I'll definitely, definitely have to think about that next time I buy a car. I think I saw, yeah, see smoke pipes. Yeah, you definitely want to clean them before you use them. What I use is, I have a piece of, what is this stuff called? MDF. You know, you can get a very straight square edge on that. And I'll put a piece of 80 grit sandpaper onto that, glue that on, and use that to sort of scrape and clean the buffs. But also when I first use them, I run them on that sandpaper for a bit, and that'll pull off any loose fuzz or fluff or anything. Works really well, at least in my experience. Oh, great, Mark. I'm really glad to hear that. And Pipe and Falsey, it is the Carolina Red Flake with Perique from Cornell and Deal. It's their new small batch. One that we will very shortly be having a giveaway on. Not this tin because it's open, but an unopened tin. And this nice Series 3 Savinelli pipe. So we're going to do that in just a minute or two. Hardcracker, do you smoke a pipe on a motorcycle? I'm just curious. I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle, but never have. I would imagine it would be very difficult to smoke on one. There you go, Mark. That's That's a great way to get them started. Hopefully they'll lean more towards the Carter Hall than the 1Q, but hey, we'll see what happens. Ah, that's fantastic, Mark. That's a good way to get started, a Cobb and a Graybow. Yeah, Doug, that would be perfect for maintenance. You know, cleaning up the stem and polishing the bowl. And I should make that point. So what I was talking about for buffing setups, you know, I'm very often starting with raw vulcanite or you know, freshly sanded briar. If all you're looking is to maintain the pipes, you can get away with less. And like Doug said, the 6-inch wheels are probably fine for that. And you know, as long as you can go low enough, you don't want too high a speed. A typical grinder is going to be too fast. It's going to be 32, 3600 RPM, something like that. So you want to at least be sure you can get a slow speed grinder. Let us know how that goes, Desert Pine Piper. I've talked about this before. 1Q is incredibly popular. So is Captain Black, which a lot of people will argue 1Q is Captain Black. I can't smoke either of them anymore. I don't know what people see in them. But it's very popular, so clearly there's something good in there that I'm not getting. Yeah, I see you guys talking about turkey season. Show you something semi-related to that I started working on this weekend. These are going to be cob stems in camouflage. I thought that might be a neat idea. Let me know what you think. Got a batch of them. Once you start making these, it's easier to just make a set of them than to make them one at a time. One Q is like getting a hug from your grandmother. That's great, Alan T. 1Q, it's Lane 1Q, Al. It's a tobacco, an aromatic tobacco. Yeah, Doug, it's definitely got a lot of perique. I'm finding it very smooth, though. And the consensus, we're talking about the tobacco, the Carolina Red with perique. The consensus is that in about 5 years, this is going to be a really fantastic blend. Just needs some age on the Carolina. Cool. Looks like a lot of folks are into the camouflage stems, so I'll continue with them. I'll let you know when they're done. What is 1Q flavored with? I would say it's sort of a vanilla, but I really have trouble. Yeah, Pipes and Chores is agreeing vanilla. I get a very strong chemical flavor from 1Q, so I have trouble pulling anything out of it. But I've talked about this so many times, boring me, but I have an issue with aromatics where if they're synthetic chemical flavorings, I taste the chemical, I don't taste the flavoring, and the same is true with flavored coffee. Oh, full smoking bar, that's hilarious. All right, so let's go over the rules for the contest, for the giveaway. So one more time, in case you joined late, you're going to get an unopened tin of Carolina Red Flake with perique from Cornell and Deal, which I highly recommend you sell her for a few years. and you're going to get this Savinelli Series III 122 KS pot, bent pot. This is from the Pipe Nook, and it is a filter, 9mm filter. This includes a balsa filter, and I would be happy to make an adapter for you if you prefer a non-filtered pipe. Just let me know, because that doesn't take very much time at all. So that's what you got to win, and I just want to remind you guys to check out the Pipe Nook, which is where this pipe came from. No sponsorship or anything, just a satisfied customer that thinks you can get some really good deals there. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to ask a question. Everyone can answer. Moderators, you guys are welcome to join in as well. This isn't in any, because you're not in any way going to get a, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not in any way better off in terms of knowing the answer to the question. So you don't have an advantage. There we go. There's that word. So everyone can join in. If you won last month, maybe hang back and give somebody else a chance. But other than that, everybody's welcome. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to say, it doesn't matter really how I do this. I'll just tell you now. I'm going to say the third correct answer is going to win. So if you put the correct answer in your first, that doesn't win. You have to be the third person to give the correct answer. So there's this sort of random aspect to this. Now, last time we had some problems because what I see on the screen wound up not being the same thing that was in the live stream replay. Had the moderators confirm what I saw, and it was confirmed all around, but when I went back and watched the replay, it was different. So I think there's some timing issues with how this works out. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to count, and I'm going to say who number 3 was and announce the winner, and that's what we're going to live with. So I apologize for that. That's a bit arbitrary, I know, but it's as fair as I can do it. Because the timing might be different with the replay and the live stream, we're just going to have to live with that. So I hope you guys are okay with that as a rule. Already got an answer from Alan T, but I haven't asked the question yet, and I get the joke. All right, so are we ready for the question then? Where's my, oh, here it is. Give you a hint. The question is coming from this book. Do not buy this book unless you are a really big Sherlockian. It's a fascinating book. I love Sherlock Holmes. I'm really, really into, studying the background of the stories and trying to, piece different things across stories together and that sort of stuff. And this is a great book if you're into that. But this book is basically just a listing of stuff that has to do with pipes and Sherlock Holmes. So there's no narrative to read here. It's just tables and charts and things like that. But it's a really cool book, in my opinion. So the question, and think carefully about this because there's a hint embedded in the question. So here we go. In the 60 Sherlock Holmes stories that were written by Arthur Conan Doyle, pipes were mentioned a number of times. Sherlock Holmes was described as smoking a pipe a number of times. And that pipe was one of 3 things. It was either just referred to as a pipe or a briar pipe 56 times. It was referred to as a clay pipe 5 times. And it was referred to this other pipe, either shape or composition, just once. What was that pipe? 3. We've got a winner, Ben Baker. I am taking, so the answer is cherrywood. I took long cherrywood as a correct response. I did not take cherry as a correct response because the answer is cherrywood. So Ben Baker, you are number 3, and congratulations. If you can get in touch with me by email at canerodpiper@gmail.com, send me your contact information, and I will get that in the mail to you. I'm trying to only do one post office run a week, so I won't be putting it in the mail until probably Friday or Saturday. But good job. That was, I'm glad to see the way that evolved, because a lot of folks were saying calabash, and it's the obvious answer, but actually Sherlock Holmes never smoked a calabash in the Arthur Conan Doyle stories. The first actor to play Sherlock Holmes on stage, whose name is escaping me right now, he chose to use a calabash because it was big and you could see it in the theater. And that's how we got this idea of Sherlock Holmes always smoking the calabash. It might have been a ROP, Big Dave. I can't say for sure. It was just referred to as a cherrywood. There you go, Mark. William Gillette. Thank you, Doug. Yeah, it was William Gillette that was the actor. Thank you, Mark. You got it too. Yeah, well, that was fun. I enjoyed that one. Did they mention a blend in the? There's a couple mentions. So Holmes mostly smoked what was referred to as black shag, sometimes the cheapest or the strongest black shag. And Watson smoked something called Ships, which was probably a Navy roll type blend. A little no prize quiz about Sherlock. You're putting me on the spot there, Stephen Skip. Black shag sounds like a dance. Yeah, it does, Mark. Hey, George, you're welcome. Yeah, I know, but I have to think of the question, Stephen Skip. The workshop's coming along fine. I mean, honestly, what you're seeing right here is about all that I've got done. I've been doing a little bit of work outside of this. But unfortunately, unfortunately for me, as I'm working from home, I have to actually use this as an office. Well, I shouldn't say I have to. I've chosen to use this as an office, which means I don't have the space anymore to move things around and do the kind of things I want to do in terms of the other shop renovation work. But it's fine. Let's see. That's a good point, Armchair Piper. It did keep the pipe away from the face more as well. Oh, that's very nice of you, Steph and/or Skip. Well, Chuck, it's a great time to get them because he's having a sale on these Series 3. No, Mark, I'm not doing Cobb Foolery this year. I just really don't have the time. Desert Pine Piper has a question. What in Connecticut is William Gillette famous for building? I'm going to guess it's a theater, or it's a joke. Oh, thank you, Cliff. A castle? Was that right, Desert Pine Piper? Oh, Paul, that's really cool. I've wanted to go to that for a long time now. razor blades. Mark in Rhode Island says William Gillette Castle at Patriots Stadium. I'd love to see the pictures, Paul. Oh yeah, that is a good one, Doug. House of Fear, Basil Rathbone. And you took away probably the only other trivia question I could think of, which was where did Holmes keep his tobacco? Oh, that's cool. Hidden bathroom behind the bookshelves. Pipe Smoker 795, glad you survived the grocery shopping. It's a good question, Pipes and Chores. Does Sherlock Holmes draw people into pipe smoking as much as Lord of the Rings? I don't know. You know, Sherlock Holmes is fascinating because he's one of these characters that just, he's iconic and he's part of our consciousness. You know, if you see a profile with a pipe and it's at all a bent pipe, you know, it doesn't have to be a calabash, and that deerstalker hat, you immediately know who it is. You know, you don't need any more detail, just the outline of that image. I don't know if you could say the same about Lord of the Rings characters, but maybe. Yeah, I've always been fascinated by how much Sherlock Holmes is part of our psyche, really. Where did he keep his unanswered mail? I believe he kept it stabbed to the mantelpiece by a knife. Yes, they gave a cigar to Columbo, and every time I watch Columbo, I find myself craving a cigar. Jeremy Brett was fantastic. Yeah, I bought the DVD of that series. I really like the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes. What is that called? The Granada series. Ah, I got it right. Thanks, Mark. Kojak was good, yeah. You know, there's a really interesting story with Jeremy Brett. He apparently got into that role a little bit too much and might have had some mental issues because of that. And he tragically died not long after that series completed. That's true. That's true. The precious does come through into the culture, full dawdle. Steph liked Cumberbatch. Yeah, it was very different. You know, I enjoyed the Cumberbatch series. I really did. I thought it was well done, but it wasn't canon Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah, Doug, I love Rathbone as well. He was just incredible, and I love watching those old movies. But you're right, that Granada series was incredibly faithful to the books. Yeah, and the Robert Downey Jr. That's kind of similar in my mind to the Cumberbatch. They're nice movies. They're well made, but it's not canonical Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah, I've heard that about Jonathan Winters as well. He kind of got stuck in his characters. I think Everett said Holmes was one of the darkest characters ever played. Yeah, and Holmes is actually a very dark character if you think about it. He's very drawn up into himself. He's very bored with life in general and needs constant stimulation just in order to function. That's why he smoked so much. He wasn't smoking because he enjoyed a good pipe. He was smoking because he needed a constant supply of nicotine. And he also had other drug habits outside of nicotine. Did the series actually end? I remember the last thing I remember was there was a Christmas special, and I thought maybe there was more coming, but I don't know if that was the case. Oh, that's interesting. So Tinderbox provided or presented the church warden that Brett used, and he was fantastic with that too. He was able to he really incorporated that. I loved the way he would point with it and indicate things with it. It was very natural. Peter Cushing Sherlock. Yes, I don't know that I've seen all of them, Mark, but I've definitely seen some Peter Cushing Sherlocks. Looks like Steph and Skip had some issues with trolls earlier today. Sorry to hear that, guys. Private Life of Sherlock Holmes, that's another good one. Yeah, I have heard that story, Christian. Who else did Conan Doyle have? There's an odd story about Arthur Conan Doyle and I'm blanking on who he is. Oscar Wilde. But I can't remember the details of it. The the story with Houdini was that Conan Doyle was very much into mysticism, and Houdini, well, you may not know, but he was pretty staunchly against mysticism and seances and things like that. He would take great joy in debunking them, and that led to quite a bit of tension between the two. They did not remain friends because of that. Pipe in the Forest, hello. Thanks for joining us from Norway. Yeah, Mark, I did get the book from Amazon, but again, unless you're really into Sherlock Holmes, I don't recommend it because it's just not, there's just, I don't know how to show this, but there's lots of pictures and things, which is nice, but it's really not a narrative. It's just, here's the pipes that Sherlock smoked, here's the tobaccos that he smoked. And it's restricted to Sherlock Holmes. It doesn't go into anything, or very little about Watson or any of the other characters. That's the way to do it, see smoke pipes. And the great thing about it is you can go back after finishing those 10 pages and start all over again. It never gets old. That's a great quote from Mark Twain. Doesn't he also have one where he said, I don't smoke something like I never smoke when I sleep. So. Do you have the Baring Gould, Mark? That's my favorite of the annotated editions. Hey Jim, thanks for stopping in. I don't know, Mark. It's an interesting thought. Did Mark Twain get servants to smoke his cobs until they were black and charred? The Pipes of Basil Rathbone, Sherlock Holmes by Mark Irwin. That does sound interesting. I recall the Rathbone movies were much more. I think he did smoke several cherrywoods in those movies, and I think there were even a couple of scenes with clay pipes. I remember them being much more true to the canon in terms of the pipes that were smoked. Yeah, W.K.R. Piper. That's an interesting story too. I read a biography of Tesla, and he had an interesting relationship with Mark Twain. That's interesting, Mark, about the Twain liking his cobs very broken in. You know, a lot of people think Twain only smoked cobs. He actually really loved Peterson pipes. Had quite a few Petersons. Yeah, Terry, I think it's getting a lot of us through the social isolation. And I'm finding that things like this, just being able to get together socially like this is really, really helpful. And I've been so interested in the conversation, I forgot to reload my pipe. Anybody want to guess what I'm going to smoke next? First try, Christian. Hey, DJ's Den. Good to see you. Yeah, it's Haunted Bookshop. Sorry, Peter, I'm out of Mixture 79. I actually am going to need to run a pipe cleaner through this. That's right, Philadelphia Piper. It's going to be some straight Latakia. Be nice, Christian. Christian and I are planning a meetup where we're going to bring all the tobaccos we don't like and force each other to smoke them. Yeah, Mark, I've got like one bowl left of the McBaron Burley, and I'm going to put that in my jar where I put one bowl of each for the end of the year. So I'm done smoking it as it sells. My pouch is diminishing, so. Is Haunted Bookshop that good, or is it that Matt just loved it so much? Well, I liked Haunted Bookshop before I knew John. It's one of the things that we enjoyed talking about was how we got into how we stumbled on Haunted Bookshop. But I don't know. There's no doubt he made it popular, at least within the YTPC. Whoever says Uncle First, yep. Whoever says Uncle First has to buy dinner. So that's something to look forward to when this is all over. Get together in small groups, even just one or two guys. Bring all the tobaccos you've discovered you can't stand. Force the other guy to smoke them. and vice versa. And whoever says uncle first has to buy dinner. I like that. Dr. Pepper with a Lakeland, that's a good way to describe it. Oh, Monty 53. I don't know if we'll do that after dinner because I'll need a full stomach for that. I see a lot of guys liking Mixture 79. That's great. I love Mixture 79, and I find it's one of the few blends. Where did I put my tamper? It's one of the few blends that I actually find myself craving sometimes. Everett, you can't possibly be out. Solani Festival. I have not had that one, Paul. Yeah, Mark, Mark's asking about my final opinion on the McBaron Burley. I would probably buy it again if it was available, but it's not going to be an everyday smoke for me. It was good though. It was a good Burley blend. I definitely enjoyed it. It took me a while to get to that point though. So I'm guessing a lot of guys have been trying new tobaccos during this time. I mean, it's one of the things we can do. Yeah, Duza Pipes. We're talking about that the McBaron London blend. At least I think that's what we're talking about, Mark. I hope that is because that's what I've been answering about. I keep misplacing my tamper. Yeah, it is I don't detect nicotine. I have this nicotine resistance thing, so I can't tell you whether Haunted Bookshop is a high nicotine smoke or not, but it definitely does seem to bother a lot of people because of the nicotine content. I just like the flavor of it. Yeah, dudes, I think, I can't imagine why McBaron wouldn't bring that blend back out because it was very popular. And, you know, it seems like the limited run sold very well. Now, I have had several people suggest alternatives to it. There's another McBaron blend. Was it Symphony? It might have been Symphony, or it might have been like Golden Extra or something like that. If any of you guys remember this, let me know. That was recommended as a substitute. H&H Burley is the same as the London Burley. Is that so, Adita? So yeah, definitely would be worth trying some of the other McBaron Burleys if you really like that one, because some of them are pretty close. RLP6 should go well with the HGL, Mark. Epiphany. Golden Extra is very close to London Blend. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, so that's the one that I was thinking of, or that's the one that was recommended to me. I have not tried Golden Extra. So Duza, if you want to get something close to London Blend, McBaron Golden Extra. Pegasus is very good, Cliff. And Epiphany, if that's what you were asking about, is also a very good blend. Well, Roland, I'm ridiculously pleased too. Good to have you here, my friend. Let me know how you like that, Mark. I've got a tin of White Horse that I bought when it first came out and never opened. Well, by Smoker 795, I'm having lighter problems. I've got Zippos, but I can't find the flints. These guys, I've talked about these before, but these little clippers are fantastic, and they're refillable. I just need to refill it. You can change the flints on them, and they're cheap as can be. So I bought 6 of these and just scattered them around so I can always find one, but I just need to refill it. And I do have, keep forgetting to reach for it, I've got my St. Benedict Zippo that Ben gave to me, and that is working, so I can use that. I keep forgetting that it's behind me. Thank you, Brian. It's my pleasure. I'm glad we can do that. Oh, is it tangy, Mark? Yeah, I don't like that much either. Black House is good. I'm not a big Latakia guy, but I do like Black House a lot. Yes, Bona Piper, and that's what's going to make me so angry when I finally find them, because they're going to be in a place that makes absolute sense that I should have looked immediately. It's odd I'm getting a gurgle from this pipe, and I never get a gurgle from this pipe. Kirk, good to see you, buddy. Has it cooled off any down there? Full Doddle, that's a good suggestion. I did not look in the fridge. The problem is I know I put them away somewhere. No, Mark, I haven't tried Gaslight. Stephen Skip, have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Alan T, thank you for stopping in. You have a good evening. Actually, I did not check my sock drawer, Nick, but it would be very surprising if it were there. Doug, did I say White Horse? Or White Knight is what I was thinking of. 92. Well, hope you're staying cool, Kirk. Yeah, Mark, I've had the, what is it, Miskatonic mixture from the Lovecraft series. That was nice. Okay, so we're all talking about White Knight and just calling it White Horse. Thanks, Mark. Tradbear55, thanks for stopping in. A self-lighting pipe. I don't know if I'd like that, Paul. Yeah, Christian, that would make sense, but that's not where I put them. WKR Piper, get in touch with me. I don't want to talk about costs on here, but I can mend them if you want them bent, or I can keep them straight. Pipes and chores, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, Mark, there's something about Carter Hall and coffee that just, they work together. Sure thing, Cliff. I guess that's one of the benefits, Nick. Takio, the Warhorse Ready Rub reminds you of an upgraded Carter Hall. I can see that. All right, Full Doddle. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. Have a good evening. And enjoy the rest of the weekend. That sounds good, Mark. Did he ever have the wild turkey in the coffee? I saw Sea Smoke Pipe listing Star of the East and Penzance. I didn't see what the Quiet Nights. Okay. Yeah, I like Star of the East. I don't smoke a lot of Latakia, but I really do like Star of the East. It's a nice, smooth Latakia blend. Not that big of a fan of Penzance. But I smoke in English like, once every 3 months, so don't listen to me. No wild turkey in the coffee. There you go. I find the few times that I've had a shot in some coffee, it seems to affect me a lot more than the alcohol would by itself. I don't know if that's a synergism with the caffeine or if it's just that it's hot, but I stay away from alcohol-laced coffee for that reason. I'm with you, Takio. I don't get the hype either. I mean, they're good tobaccos. There's no question about it, but there's other good tobaccos. There's other tobaccos that are just as good. And you can buy them. Hey, Piano Piper. Good to see you. Pembroke, that's one I haven't had in quite a while, Cliff. Oh, that sounds good. Chicory coffee is really good. Yeah, I agree. Sea Smokes Pipes. It's good stuff, but I'll smoke something I can actually buy. Thomas, good to see you, my friend. I have no idea what time it is in Sweden, but I'm very glad you could join us. I'm in that category of fresh bean grinders, WKR Piper. So not too terribly late, Thomas. But thank you. I really appreciate you you staying up for this. Paul, we're going to have to make a list and send you care packages. Oh, couch, that would make me a happy man. I'm a pretty pedestrian coffee guy. I drink 8 o'clock coffee. I grind it every morning and I make it in a old-fashioned percolator, electric percolator, not the stovetop one. And it's just what I'm used to. It's what I'm happy with. I don't like the I shouldn't say over roasted, but the really strong like French roasts and Italian roasts. They just don't work for me. We don't want the beans to get bruised, Couch. So did you actually get a new house, and is the move in progress, or I know it got derailed a bit. Yeah, Peter, it makes us realize how good we've got it here. The difference between availability of tobacco here and in the UK. And I'm afraid that we're not far behind you guys in the UK with the way things have been going lately. Ah, congratulations, Couch. Glad to hear it. Good luck with the closing. I just realized I have my phone over here where I can see what time it is. So we're about 20 after 5. I'll go to 5:30, if that's okay with everyone. It's embarrassing. I've lost my tamper again. Well, we'll go to always keep these handy. So Paul, how does it work? If you come visit, could you like fill up a suitcase and take it back, or do you have to pay the same fees that you would have to pay if you got caught by customs? Yeah, DJ's dead. If the warnings get any bigger, we're going to need them to come on a separate tin. Yes, WKR Piper, I do. I found the tamper. It's on the other side of my coffee mug, but the flints are not there. I'm actually pretty organized. I mean, I always know where my tamper is when I'm working, but I'm turned around here and I'm trying to, this is a different environment for me, so I keep putting it down in a different place. Oh, thanks, Piano Piper. This is a Hercules, which I believe is a Savinelli second line. And this, I've told this story before, but I bought this at a consignment shop. My wife knew the owner, and he called up and said he had gotten pipes in. And he had boxes and boxes of pipes that were from a pipe shop that apparently closed in the 70s, and the pipes just sat in it until now. So this was unsmoked when I got it. I paid whatever price was on the pipe, I paid for them, and this was, I think, like maybe $12. And all I had to do was get the oxidation off the stem, and it was ready to smoke. I wish I had bought more. Yeah, alcohol doesn't, and alcohol is probably causing a lot more problems than pipe tobacco. All right, Everett, you take care. Good to see you, buddy. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a chat tomorrow. Just see how things go in the morning, what's going on. You guys probably are getting a little bit more of me this weekend than you need, so I might take Sunday off this week. And next Friday we got another solo live stream lined up, and I'll try to think of some interesting stuff to talk about. Maybe I'll put together I'll take Steph and Skip's suggestion and put together some trivia questions about Sherlock. Thanks, Paul, and thanks, Mark. I'm not looking forward to my next Halloween video because I don't know what to do with it. I set out to do the 3 big Universal stars from the talkie era. So I did Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, and Lon Chaney Jr. And that's done now, so I don't know what to do next. I've thought about Vincent Price, but boy, Vincent Price has got such a big career and everything. It would be impossible to really cover that in a reasonable video. Thought about Lon Chaney Sr., but his story is actually really tied up in Lon Chaney Jr.'s story, and I kind of already went over a lot of that. So I don't know. I have to think about what to do. No, that would be interesting, piano piper. Steve, sun's coming out. That's good. Thank you, Chuck. It's always good to get together with you too. Yeah, that would be a terrifying experience to smoke 1Q on Halloween. How about Hammer horror films? Yeah, I thought about that. I mean, even somebody like Cushing is going to have such a big career that it's going to be hard to do that. But maybe just on the Hammer franchise. Christopher Lee is another one where his career is just so big that. But Lon Chaney Jr. kind of fell into that category. Maybe I could move over to Hammer. I don't know. I got to think about it. Another thing I was thinking of is maybe doing something on, like, the real story behind the vampire or something like that. You know, going through the history and talking about you know, the origins of the vampire, and then the portrayals of the vampire in the movie. So starting with Nosferatu and going through Lugosi and all that sort of stuff. And you could do this. That would be nice, because then I could roll that into, you know, the Mummy and witches and all sorts of things for future years. Yeah, I couldn't see who that was, but there's no question Lon Chaney was the Wolfman. He really he was a remarkable actor, and I don't think he gets his due, to be honest. Yeah, I just think Vincent Price would be really hard to do, because he just was in everything. You know, there's probably, oh, there's got to be a couple hundred horror movies that Vincent Price was in. Big and old-fashioned, The Horror of Pipe Tobacco. Come on over, Paul. We'd love to have you. And of course, the day you arrive would be the day they'd pass sweeping tobacco legislation that made it impossible to get anything. All right, piano piper, you have a good one. I'm going to sign off momentarily as well, guys. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Congratulations to, I think it was Ben who won the pipe and tobacco. Please get me an email, and I'll get that in the mail to you Friday or Saturday. And I want to thank the moderators for showing up and doing the job that they do, because that's essential to this. It really does help us. Yeah, Vincent Price is a consummate actor, and there would be so much to try to go through there. Thanks, Big Dave. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, everyone, you all take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I might see you tomorrow morning, or maybe not. There'll be a new installment in the bamboo pipe series that I'm doing on Monday, so be sure to catch that. And if I don't see you before then, I'll see you on Friday's live stream. So take care, all. Bye now.